Right, 365 Days of Horsemanship, day 277. Yeah, I had a super nice day today. As you can tell, my voice is still really rubbish, but I did have a good session with both horses. I came up to Lawrence first, and it was really nice because he was actually down with the rest of the herd today. The last 2 days, I don't know why, he's been right up the top of the hill, away from the best grass, and like ages away from everybody else. So I'm kind of glad that he was with everyone else today. Like, I'm happy that he's kind of self-regulating the richness of his grass, and I'm happy that he doesn't feel like he needs to be with the herd all the time. But you know, I probably would have started to be a little bit like, what's going on? So it was nice, and had a nice little session. Managed to get my camera out for the first time and film for the first time since I've been back. See you later, Mama. I know, Mia's in fat camp. Bless her soul. And yeah, I definitely think that I almost was hard on myself for it being only 15 minutes, but actually it was really good because it was a lot better than the day before, in that yesterday, obviously the stress is up. Stress is a little high at the moment because of the midges and the grass and the flies and the itchiness. And obviously there's kind of two reasons why he might be less curious. Either it's because he's super comfortable, or it's because he's a little concerned. And definitely I can see that at the moment it's because he's just chronically a little bit more concerned. So yesterday I had these two choices as to whether to work with small focus changes, which meant working at touching distance on the fingerprint and on the handprint game, or if I wanted to play what I knew would be a slightly longer game and practice my walking until I got some kind of response, category change, release of stress that I was happy with. And I chose to work at a close distance because it felt too overwhelming for me. I didn't feel like I had the patience for the longer game. And so today, even though it was actually a shorter session than yesterday, it felt really easy to play that game. I was really happy about that because, you know, that is huge for me, definitely, to feel excited to do that again. And I did walk until I got some blowouts. I didn't get any big focus changes off the grass, but I was happy with where I got to. And then I did get a moment of curiosity about the environment right at the end. And so I left it there. And I think that was a good place to leave it, you know. I did feel like I'd done the right amount of time. I was starting to get tired, but I wasn't so tired that I was thinking, oh gosh. And I saw that end of the cycle and I thought, bam, that's a good place. And so that was nice too, because definitely the last couple of days I've ended up taking kind of whatever moment was happening, really, because I didn't have enough in the tank to wait for anything else. And so I was happy with that as well. And I think, yeah, overall it was just a really positive session. Then I went for Mia, took her in the arena, did some freedom stuff. She wanted to move a lot more today. I think because she's just getting tired of being in a small space, which I totally get. And so today I think it was all about just staying ahead of her, which actually was quite successful, and basically just starting to walk before she started to want to walk. I'm happy walking with her, like I want her to walk. So then it's like, if I want her to keep walking, then I need to think about stopping walking early enough that she wants to walk more. So it's just about like staying ahead of her the whole time, like having good ideas where I'm like, oh, should we walk now? And she's like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. And then before she feels the need to stop, being like, should we stop and have a look at the environment now? And she's like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. So, you know, it's just like, and that was actually quite successful. I was quite successful with my timing with that, which was really nice. I actually managed to hop on. I've been doing this thing where my only rule is that there's no eating of the grass around the outside of the arena. And so I've been doing my bouncing and that was working quite successfully, but today not so much. And so I ended up actually bouncing and then getting on mounting, which was actually super nice because she was really into it. She was like, yeah, sure, you can get on. I'm happy with that. And then once I got on, she took me for a walk. It was really relaxed, which was amazing. It was such a nice ride, actually. We were just literally walking around together for like 10 minutes. You can just bareback and bridleless, and yeah, it was really lush. Definitely really happy that I took that opportunity. And I actually played with that pattern a couple more times, because she kind of offered it a couple more times. And then basically went to leave, and she was like, oh, I don't want to leave yet. Kind of didn't want to put the halter on. So then I went back and did a little bit more work on my sideways to trot transitions, which is kind of the next progression of my sideways into walk and sideways into halt, which was really nice. One thing I will say about the ride, which I think was really important, it was knowing that without the halter and the line, I was not going to be able to successfully ask any questions. I knew that she had a stop. She has quite a good stop to voice, which is what kind of makes me comfortable to get on her, because firstly, I know that she's not going to freak out so much that I couldn't just get off. And secondly, that she has this really good stop by voice. So even if she gets a little bit agitated, I can just ask her to stop and she will stop. So other than that, it's a great emergency brake, but it's not actually the way that I want to use the halt, or train the halt for like general everyday use. So yeah, so I actually just made the decision that, sorry, I feel like it's been a really chaotic vlog. So guys, just coming with me on all of my adventures. Yeah, so I definitely, what was I saying now? Distracted myself, apologising to you all. Yes, that I decided that actually the best way to deal with this is just to not ask any questions, which actually worked really well, and just to have a passenger lesson and not try to ask any questions, knowing that if I ask a question, I'm likely to get into a bad spot. So yeah, it was really successful. The whole session was really successful. I was really happy with everything. So yeah, really, really happy. I'm in this place at the moment with Mia where I just kind of want to ride, which is where I was at before when I came back from Elsa's. Just really kind of coming to terms with the realities of where Mia's at in her life, where I'm at in my life, the lessons I need to learn as a horseman, the fact that she's not my horse, what she does with the other people who ride her, and just coming to terms with the fact that freedom-based training is my favourite way of training, but actually it's fundamentally important to be competent with other skills. And wherever possible, I still revert to freedom. Like today was wonderful because I actually felt like I had consensual mounting today. The little bit of grass that she was able to have while I was mounting was enough that she was really happy for me to get on, and she wasn't irritated about it afterwards. Because sometimes I feel like at the mounting block, she's quite well trained with it, dominantly. If we go into freedom stuff, we can be there for ages, which is why at the moment I'm just kind of toughing it out. But I feel like it almost surprises her, like she shuts down a little bit during the process, and then when you go on, she's like, oh my God, I wasn't really okay with that. Whereas today, she really was okay, and that was really nice. And so just taking those little moments and appreciating them, and always trying to scale it down as soon as I can and do as little as possible as soon as possible is definitely my vibe. But regardless, it just is really nice to, yeah, feel like there's a good balance between being progressive and playing with more direct methods of training alongside the freedom-based stuff. And with Mia at the moment, it's just a super opportunity because she really wants to do the work. Like when she goes back out into the big field, we'll go back to more freedom stuff probably, alongside bringing her in for this kind of work. But at the moment, you know, these few days, it's just an absolutely fantastic opportunity to do more with her, because when she's got less freedom herself, she's much more motivated to come and hang out with me, because by comparison, it's much better time. So I'm just taking advantage of that, to be honest, and just, going with the flow of the environment and, appreciating what opportunities that gives me.